was reading a quote from one of his old goalkeeping coaches who said he looks forward to tough matches like a little kid looking forward to ice cream. There's obviously, throw him in now, this will be about as big a game as he can start off with. From what you've seen so far, do you sense a player relishes big matches?
Oh, look, it's hard to say, but there is, one of the reasons, as I said, that one of the things we look at when signing a player is what kind of person they are, and he certainly didn't strike me talking to him as somebody who, is going to shy away from that kind of opportunity should it come his way. I definitely got the sense that, if you throw me in, then that's what I want. But that was a big part of sort of bringing him in and bringing him in now, because that was the reality that potentially you might have to throw you in straight away. So that was always in our thinking. So I get that sense, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that it's not going to still be a big occasion whenever he does that, whether that's tomorrow or the weekend or whatever game he plays. It's it's his first sort of foray out of his home country, so it's a big step for him. But his demeanour and his character is one that that whenever that opportunity presents himself, he's certainly not going to shy away from it.
When we asked you about Sonny, I think it was the start of December. You made the comparison to Mohamed Salah, but the way people kind of wrote him off, right enough, power effectively. Son's form since has been patchy, I think it's fair to say. How have you assessed how he's playing?
Yeah, look, I think, you've always got to keep context. I mean, Mo's an unbelievable player, but he's playing in a fantastic team, flying at the moment. Hazard to say, if you put Sonny in Liverpool's team, I reckon his goal scoring return would be decent. It's hard for our players at the moment. Even guys like Solanke and Kulusevski, Johnson, they're trying awfully hard to be the best they can be. But there is context to that in that, we're a team that's very disrupted, that is not playing with the fluency he can play with. We're asking players to play in positions that they're totally unfamiliar with, and that has an effect. So I think, like I said, to me, it's about context. It's about, but if when we're at our best, I still think you'll see that Sonny's return in terms of his ability to score goals and be real effective for us. I don't think that's diminished at all. He's going through a tough trot, but we're going through a tough trot, and I think that sort of goes hand in hand.
And just finally, you played Liverpool pretty recently. It was a tough day. You've been asked a million times about your style. You're not going to swerve away from it. How much have you relived that game, rewatched it, ahead of this?
Yeah, no, it's a good reference point because, like you said, it happened recently. So, and when we did our review, we did some things really well on the night, but we did some things really poorly. And it was more about moments in the game that you can't, against a team of that quality, sort of switch off. I mean, we got ourselves back into the game at 2-1, and then, just for half time, you think, we go in at 2-1, we always finish strong, and we concede a really poor goal from our behalf. And some of it was just focus, organisation. So they're the kind of things you reflect on, and, they capitalise. I mean, the game came a bit sort of chaotic in the second half. We got really stretched, which suited them, but then kind of allowed us to get back into the game as well. So there was learnings from it, and I think because it was so recent, you certainly use that as a kind of, a foundation for the kind of game we need it to be tomorrow in terms of addressing it a bit differently.
Matt?
You did a fans forum this season with the chairman, Sonny, and the chairman was asked his top 3 achievements as a chairman, and he didn't include winning the League Cup, which is the only trophy the club's won since he's been there. Do you hope that if you win it...
Well, after sitting here for 18 months, Matt, and telling me what a trophy's going to do for this club, I kind of hope it has a little bit of an impact on everybody. But look, I kind of don't get weighed down by those kind of things in terms of allowing them to really impact what I think is important for this football club, and that is that, look, we're having a tough season. Our league form is really poor. We need to improve. But we are in a semi-final of a competition, and with the group of players we've got at the moment, if we can achieve something where they are in their careers, I think it does set you up really well for what we're trying to build here. I think it does. It's not the be-all and end-all, as I've said it many times, but, if we get to, a final and happen to win a trophy, we'll look back on sort of this period of where, a real sort of small group of, players, had to rise above and beyond to get there. I think that will be as worthy of the achievement as actually winning it.
And he did also sack the manager 4 days before a final.
Yeah. So just drop out the semi-final, you reckon, and I'm safe?
But a lot's been made of this tie in terms of a wider importance.
Yeah.
Do you think it offers you any greater security to your job?
I don't need greater security. All I see is, I've got a group of players who are absolutely giving everything they can. I see every person at this football club pushing hard every day, whether they're involved in football or not, to try and help us through this situation. I don't need anything more than that. It's my responsibility. The results are on me. It's my responsibility to change that. If it doesn't change, then of course I'm the one that should take whatever ramifications there are to it. But I don't need any more security than seeing what I see every day, that the club, everyone at the club is totally supportive of what we're trying to do, and they're trying to help me and trying to help us get through this. And that's all you kind of any manager really needs. I'm not interested in security.
Alan?
FIFPro in the past have used Son as a case study for players who've had a lot of trouble, a lot of games, no breaks. Has that been a concern at all?
Oh, look, I think it's more of a testament to him and how he's been able to maintain such a high level of performance for that many years. Obviously coming from that part of the world, I can tell you it's the hardest probably trip you can do, coming from Asia back into Europe and on a consistent basis. I'd hate to know the kind of mileage he's put in over his career, and yet he's maintained an unbelievable level of performance, which is a testament to him as a person as much as a footballer. And I think they're the things you kind of take into mind because, I think Sonny's found a way of, like I said, maintaining an unbelievable standard, but we're more concerned would be how many players haven't realised their potential because of similar circumstances.
Do you feel that may have taken a toll over a course of years? And you've spoken a bit about the collective being exhausted, but is there a chance that going back and forth over a decade and maybe?
On him? No, on him, like I said, the opposite. I think it's been unbelievable how he's been able to maintain that level of consistent performance. I mean, I know everyone's kind of focusing on it now, but even last year, his season was incredible for us. Like I said, I think people just need to have a little bit of context that, again, Mo's a world-class player, but you put him in our team at the moment, I'm not sure he would have the same impact because of the situation we're in as a group. As attacking player, what do you need? You need a team that's kind of in good form, creating opportunities, playing on the front foot, having a really solid sort of foundation of a defence that, is cohesive. Like, none of these things exist at the moment. So we're relying really on individual moments, and like I said, that you can say the same thing about Dom and Kulusevski and Brennan, because they're the ones that kind of playing all the time. They're doing the best they can.
Dave?
Hi, Ange. Just two things, if I can. First of all, just more on Son. Is it important that the club sort out his longer-term contract situation by the end of the summer? I suppose the obvious, if it's not sorted out by then, the repercussions are quite obvious.
Only if it's important to Sonny as well. I think with all these kind of things, I think it has to be when you've got a player like Sonny who has such a standing at a club, and I know how highly the club regards him, and I know how much he loves the club. I just think it'll all happen mutually. I don't think it's something that needs to be forced one way or another. Whatever. I don't think the club will be, sort of in a position of trying to force anything, or Sonny would try and force anything. I think there's enough sort of respect and sort of enough credit between both parties that those kind of discussions I think will happen naturally, and I think we'll come to a conclusion that everyone's happy with.
Do you get the sense that's what Sonny wants?
Look, I don't want to speak on behalf of, I think what Sonny wants is for us to win tomorrow night. I think that's where his headspace is at the moment.
Cool. And just the other thing was that in the 6-3 against Liverpool recently, it struck me that energy and just that physical sharpness was clearly a problem for your players, understandably. What has changed since then, going into, compared to what we're going to see tomorrow night? Because it's not quite easy for them. No, not a great deal's changed. So, like I said, we've just got to deal with certain moments better so we don't allow the game to sort of get away from us like it did that night. I think, like I said, there was, I think moments in the game allowed it to sort of then drift into a game where, like I said, became a bit chaotic, and, they understandably had more legs than us on the night. Although we still matched it physically from a numbers perspective, it's just that we ended up probably doing more running than we needed to because the game became so stretched. So, there are things that we need to do better to try and control the game and control how much running we need to do. While at the same time, we still want to play at a high tempo, and the players are maintaining that, intensity and tempo. It's just that, like I said, against Liverpool, you've got to have an element of control around it.
Tom, and then finish with Dan, please.
Just on Solanke, it didn't really work for him at Liverpool or at Chelsea, and there was this idea for a while maybe he wasn't kind of a big club player. Was that at all on your mind when you signed him? Did you have any kind of worries?
No, not really, because if anything, I think that was kind of what excited me about it, because, I knew I was going to get a player who had something to prove, who probably felt like, okay, the start of my career wasn't great, but I've worked my way back to a big club, and now I want to show people that, I can play at this level and can make an impact. And look, he's been unbelievable for us. To think of kind of the way he's led that front line pretty much on his own. I mean, we've lost Richarlison all year. He had his own kind of minor setbacks at the start of the year, and I don't even sub him off. I've got to leave him out there. And the manner in which he plays takes a big physical toll. It's not like he's one of these strikers who just sort of strolls about. I mean, he works his backside off for the team defensively, leads the line, and is scoring goals. So I think he's been brilliant for us. And, like I said, hopefully in the very near future we get some help for him, and I think you'll see him even go to another level.
Is there an argument to say that maybe he does so many things well, if he kind of his numbers would be even better if he sort of focused more on his...
Look, again, I'll just say that his numbers would be better if we were better. You've got to cut these guys some slack. They can't do it all on their own. We're struggling as a team for, like I said, consistency, energy, cohesion. Understandably so. You can't expect strikers then to go score hat-tricks on the back of that, and even on the weekend, he kind of scored an unbelievable goal. He had a couple of headers, we're a bit unlucky. He's still getting in those areas, but he's doing the absolute maximum. His numbers will be better when we get better.
Is he one of the leaders in the team?
He's becoming that, yeah, I think. Look, I think through this difficult sort of process we've been in, there have been things that have emerged. Guys like him and Kulusevski have definitely become much more pivotal in what we do with the way they play and the way they kind of tackle the tasks that we've got at the moment. We've seen enormous growth in Archie Gray, enormous growth in Lucas Bergvall, enormous growth in Jed Spence. So there is some good stuff happening, but it does get masked over by the fact that we're not in a great space in terms of our results right now, and we need to change that.
Dan, to finish, please.
You just said in the very near future, no one gets some help. Is that a dramatic transfer?
Both, yeah. It's not a hint, but it's hopefully what we can do. But yeah, it's nothing. Near future. Wouldn't suggest tomorrow. I don't think.
So you're hoping for a centre forward this month?
Not a centre forward, but I think we need some help in the front half if we can get it. Yeah, because obviously Wilson's still a fair bit away off. I said Richie's coming back, but we just got to be really careful with Richie, and got to try and keep him back. So there's there's an area, but again, it's got to be the right fit. Is that going to happen this window? I'm not really sure, but at least we know that within all the things being well, 7 days, Richie is back and he'll definitely help Dom for sure.
I thought you said with Richie you wanted 4 weeks of solid training.
No, 2, sorry, mate. 2 weeks. Sorry, yeah. So this week, next week. So all things being well, we're kind of hoping by, lost track of games, Arsenal next week, he should be available.
And can I just ask you about the 6-3 again? It struck me that you worked really hard to get that goal back through Madison, I think 5 minutes before half time. And then perhaps if you'd gone in at 2-1, big second half, and South Stand, it might have been different. How frustrated were you by their third goal in particular?
Yeah, no, it was a poor goal from us. And that's what I mean. That kind of let the game get away from us, and then it became a game where, like I said, came chaotic, and that suits Liverpool with the way they're set up. And it was a disappointing moment for us of, again, disorganisation, a little bit of lack of focus. But I've got to, again, even me, I've got to temper those frustrations by the fact that we've got an 18-year-old who's not a centre-back playing a centre-back, a left-back who's not a left-back, a goalkeeper that, was not there from the start. Like there's so many things that are so disjointed in our defensive setup that those things are going to happen. It didn't need to happen at that moment. I think they're the things we've kind of addressed for tomorrow night. You need against Liverpool to be totally focused, totally disciplined in everything you do, right up until that, to the moment the whistle ends the half or the game. Because, like I said, going in at 2-1, we always finish strong. We finish strong in that game. You always give yourself a chance. But then when they score the third, it means we've got to open up, and all of a sudden the game becomes something that Liverpool sort of probably prefer.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's a camera out.
Okay.
No sense. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Scrooge.